Hi everyone, this is AlphaAli and welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone's alright. So this is another re-recording. I'm really sorry. Sadly, Mitch's kind of VOD just basically got absolutely destroyed on the stream and stuff like that. And I basically ended up just chatting to my stream whilst I was also VOD reviewing it. I want to do it properly, so I'm re-recording it here. So we'll just kind of like get into it. And once again, you can also have your own VOD review for 5,000 channel points on my channel. And the internet should hopefully be fixed now, so it shouldn't like lag out. But if it does, I'm more than happy to redo it. And then I post them to YouTube so you can see it, and also you can see other like Mercies and stuff like that. See some like things where they're going wrong, and maybe it might also be something that you're doing wrong, and you'll know how to correct it. So this is Mich. Mich is a Bronze 5 Mercy, and they're also quite new to the game. They only started playing it, I believe, in like January, I think they said to me. And they also have a very, very pretty skin on, which I like. I do, my favorite skin. So, not biased or anything. So, looking at the team comp that Mich has, we have ourselves an Echo, Soldier, Orisa, and Kiriko. So here, personally, I would have liked to damage boost the Echo first. The reason is because the Soldier kind of like can stand alone a little bit more, whereas the Echo damage boosted sticky bombs do so much damage, and then the beam afterwards glitch to just annihilate someone. You have a Kiriko as well, so it means that you not really need to focus on too much healing. Obviously, you might need to a little bit because it's Kiriko's kind of healing got nerfed a little bit. So we're just gonna start with the VOD and see what's going to happen. I love that you're using cover here, but I would have maybe played a little bit further back personally. But it's all good. I love this use of the damage boost. Your damage boosting really nicely here. I think I would have flicked the damage boost on for the sticky bombs, but it's all good. Don't worry. Lovely peeling for your Orisa there. And I think you sadly did as much as you could there. I think the Kiriko should have tried to heal. You did as much as you could, but it's fine. You just come in, pop down below. Don't think you could have done anything for your Echo either. Lovely slingshot over. Are you going for the res? Yes, you are. I think with that res, I just would have been careful for the D.Va, although the D.Va has gone to dive. I believe your Soldier. So it's all good. But your Kiri's with her, so it's alright. Lovely directional GA there. I love that. I think I would have stayed with the Echo a little bit more, but it's nice that you dropped to your team. You kind of got stuck a little bit, but it's all good. Lovely flicks onto the damage boost though. Kind of healing as well when he's not doing anything. Really nice. And you've basically won that fight, which is really good. I think, yeah, I was about to say here I would have put my beam onto my Orisa. Nice. I think if I was you, I would have maybe gone up to the high ground if you wanted to go up there. But if not, you are kind of playing very close in. Yeah, especially the little sticky grenade that's this little broken ability that's way too just too much damage. But it's okay. Yeah, this cast is gonna come for you now and stick you. But it's all good. I think to avoid that, you could have just played a lot further back. Because it was kind of you had the range on the Orisa, but you decided to jump in, do a super jump up, and then you kind of flops back down, and then I think that's how you end up getting caught out. Instead, I would have just played a little bit more further back, maybe just playing back here, because you'd have to step out intentionally in order to get you, and if you did, you just whip into here. It's all good. And hopefully your team will realise at that point. But if not, then not really your fault. You do as much as you can there. Nice healing on Ukiri here. I think here I would follow the visor. Oh, okay. So you do finally get to him, but there was a quicker way to do that. The reason is because you kind of went up with the super jump, and then you're oh, I still can't get to him. What you could have done here is you could have just done a a directional GA or a DA across, as in you could just use someone here and then jumped and either come over to here, or you could have just stayed where you were, basically, stuff like that. But you finally got to him in the end, which is really nice. I think you got one person. Yeah, got one person in the visor, which is nice. And I love where you're positioned now. It's really nice. Nice putting your beam onto your Echo and stuff like that. Here, I would have put my beam on the Echo and played with her a little bit more. But I'm loving it used to cover here and stuff like that. I understand what you want to do with this Valk, but they're not pushed in enough, right? Valk is always great for teams that can push in, right? And it was the correct thing to do with the Valk. It's just you've done it too early, right? The reason is because the team are all stood here, right? And a lot of your team require them to be a little bit more up closer, if you get me, especially with Orisa's damage drop off and stuff like that. It requires your team to be a lot closer, stood around here instead, right? But instead, all your team are kind of just all the enemy team are here. I think I would have waited a little bit longer to pop the Valk just purely because you'd get more value out of it. But still, it's a good Valk nonetheless. Like, and I agree with the reasoning. You didn't need to GA down there. You can just like play the cover and stuff like that. But still, make sure you're looking up at your echo as well here. Nice heal. I don't think you could have helped your soldier there. You're very focused on your Orisa here, and I would have gone to help your echo. You could have like whipped into like this little room here and helped here. The reasoning is your Kiriko has her what's it called? Kitsune rush up, right? That means a high amount of healing because obviously she can heal a lot quicker, she could damage a lot quicker, and your Orisa's quite like healthy and stuff like that. So what I would have done is literally left it, and you could either come in and like you could have rest here if you wanted to res the soldier, or you could have like pushed forward a bit more with the echo. Nice healing though for that. I would have got the Glock out. Get the Glock out. Aww. Okay, I was going to talk about that before we carry on. If that was me, I would just try to get the Glock out on her, right? Because there's a point where she's going to be critical. You might end up hitting those few like headshots, stuff like that, and killing her and stuff like that. Go for it. And then at that point, you should like try to go to your echo. Now, you do end up kind of like trying to super jump and kind of like bumping your head, and now you're kind of like stuck out in like this weird kind of open area bit. And now the Kiri's like obviously next to you. Let's see what you end up doing here. That's just unfortunate. Your Kiri's, I guess your Kiri's TP'd into you. I think at this point, you just need to die. I'm gonna be very honest. But we'll see like what happens and what you make of it and stuff. Gets out. Nice up. So, okay. Here would have been such a beautiful escape if you just went across, right? I love this super jump up onto this high ground, and then you waited, and you were like, I need to wait for this, what's it called? You need to wait for your GA. But then you just casually just press the super jump button, and it's like, no, you don't need to there, right? Instead, you could literally just go to GA and then just do a slingshot one over to here, stick with your Orisa, you know, like helps her out a little bit more until your echo gets back, and then you can go in and kind of damage boost with that. I'm gonna see what happens though. Very, very risky res, I will say that, because it was very out in the open and stuff like that, but still a good res. Lovely damage boost on the Orisa roll and stuff. My only thing is that with that damage boost, I would have played a little bit more around this cover. The reasoning is because you kind of like end up just being stood and completely out in the cover of these. But I love the damage boost on it. Honestly, damage boosted Orisa ult, especially if you just pop it when you know she's going to slam it, could do a lot of damage. Oh, okay. Very risky kind of like fly in. Lovely ping to let know they didn't have it. I like this Valk, and the reasoning is because, what's it called? I think at this point you were a little bit confused. I think you become a little bit dazzled when it's like you end up like GAing in front of the team, and it was like, oh no. I think at this point you should have like, to kind of like avoid this whole scenario, you should have just kind of like played back here still and played like back with your DPS. Instead you kind of just like ended up frontlining a bit, and then I think you got a little bit confused and kind of like came over here, and then the whole team just gave it like a little bit of a mess. I understood the Valk because I felt as though like your team was still getting pressured, and without the tank, the Valk could still help you stabilize and stuff like that. I'm gonna let the rest of it play out and see what happens. It might have been a little bit of like a misused Valk, but at the same time, still really, really good. Nice use of going inside to try and like reach her though. Nice looking at your team. I love your damage boost usage, because usually with a lot of like low rank Mercies, I have to like let them know, be like, you need to like damage boost more. Lovely slingshot into the room. That was very, very nice. Nice ping to let people know that they're behind. No, you got a little bit stuck, didn't you? Oh, oh, bless you. Okay. So here, it was just, so what happened was like there was the Cassidy and stuff like that roundabouts like here, wasn't there, right? And you did such a lovely super jump back up onto this high ground, but then you just kind of, what's it called? You just ended up like flying out into like the sim turret and stuff like that. I would have literally super jumped back up to here, regathered yourself, because obviously you're not going to have LOS of this like Cassidy and stuff like that were down behind here, and obviously the Kiriko's pushing point, but that's fine. You could have like come back up here and helped your team up here, but sadly you did end up kind of like flying into them a little bit, but it's all good. I think you had the right kind of mindset, it just wasn't executed that well, if you get me. But I think it could have been avoided a little bit more if you like you played the statue a little bit more rather than like standing out in front of it. But it's all good. Nice calling for your team as well, because sometimes they'll hear that and like come to like help you and stuff like that. Sadly you can't do anything about that. I think you can res though. Yeah, I was just about to say you can res. If you do, yes. With this res though, I would have done it here instead, because I think he is in range for you to like flick it around this wall. If not, you can do it in this room, but it's a little bit more risky doing it in this room because obviously, you know, people could just come through this like wall kind of thing. But it was a nice res though. I will say it was a very, very nice res. You know, you waited for your team to like start pushing in, you went for it. Very, very nice. There I would have like tried to help the Echo Ult a little bit more. The reasoning is because the Echo Ult like could do a lot. Nice healing though on that. I thought if you were gonna die there, I would be like, oh my word. Because you kind of just like peeked it, was like, oh my gosh, which is like really nice getting out of it. No, you didn't need to fly in there. Okay, you didn't need to fly in there. The reasoning is like, obviously your wrist was walking in and stuff like that. But in reality, you could just do a quick like backwards GA. So like from where you were, got hurt, backwards GA, or like directional GA, back out. And then you could either like heal your Echo up or like help your wrist still out if she was still alive. Or your soldier's about to cover this visor and you could just help with that. I'm gonna see how this team fight plays out though. Because I think maybe if you survived, you might have been able to save this. I don't know. It would have been hard, especially because a lot of their team is still alive, especially. And with like, you know, the Symmetra does a lot of damage. But it's all good. Overall, like, your decision making seems really, really good, especially with the damage boost. You are very, very good at pushing that damage boost. It's just odd bits of like positioning. I think it's mainly because you're not, what's it called? Lovely, nice use of the, like, you know, calling on the Kiriko, you know, letting you know you were there. Yeah, I was about to say, you don't want to be in that room ever, kind of on defense. Nice help though. Oh, lucky with that Arissa. I don't think you could really do anything to help her more there. Lovely use of cover though. Really, really love that. And I like the super jump up. You're really, really good at positioning yourself when you know when the super jump's right. Like just then, for example, using the super jump to get up onto this high ground and like staying away from the diva, right? You want to distance yourself as much as you can from that diva. I think the part that you're struggling with is when the super jump isn't needed and you said you need another tech, like a slingshot or something like that. And instead you're kind of just like, you're super jumping upwards and then just like hoping for the best, like how it works out in like these scenarios. But in the scenarios it doesn't work, it actually kind of gets you picked off. And it feels like you're not really ever using those like slingshots or backwards J's enough, really. So it was very, very well used there, I will say that. I know you like push forward. A little glide up on the roof you end up doing. Nice letting your team know that your ult's ready as well. It's always good like to let your team know and stuff like that. I would have stayed with my Echo here. Yeah, just because... Okay, she kind of made like a weird move there. I don't think you would have been able to save her as such. I like the enthusiasm with this res, right? I think your mistake here is that you should have like stayed with her a little bit longer, maybe. But then once she started going in, and bear in mind they do have a Cassidy as well, right? So it's not like she's going in without any hit scans. If she's going in without any hit scans, like by all means, go ahead, like go in and like, you know, do whatever with her. Because she has like Cassidy, obviously has to be like a little bit more careful. I would have maybe like, oh, I've just gone backwards. I'm really, really sorry. I would have like played upon these like high grounds and stuff like up here. And maybe like helped her, because at the same time you could also pocket your soldier as well at the same time. It would have been a better position. You could like, come down and stuff like that. I understand why you went for this res, right? Because you think, oh, you had the cover of the payload and stuff like that. There's so much going on here at the moment as well. You would have thought, oh, like, you know, I could have help with the payload and all that kind of stuff. But in reality, you have to also think about where the enemy's going to be pushing from. And I think if you had a Zuzu ready for you and you called it out that you wanted to res, or you had a different tank, like a shield tank or a diva that could DM it and stuff like that, you would be able to get off that res completely fine. But sadly, it's just the team comp that you have. You can't pull off that res, sadly. And you end up dying for it. But it's all good. I think if you called it out to your Kiriko a little bit better, then you might have been able to get a Zuzu from her. But at the same time, it's also making sure that they have, what's it called? They have Zuzu online as well. So we'll come back quickly now. I would have just flown in with Kiri there. That's just unlucky. It's just a very broken thing. You can. Oh, I was just about to say, if you didn't try to res the Echo there, you would be able to res the soldier there. But it's all good. I like how you realized that you couldn't. And no, I don't think that res is possible now. With that end of that Valk there, I would have recommended kind of playing a lot more down this cover. The reason is because you started to get tapped by the Cassidy there, especially towards the end of your Valk, because you were playing a little bit up here. And that means that they can see you through the arches down here. And also, if someone's on that high ground as well, they can see you, like, flying above here, right? Instead, you just want to kind of, like, use your cover a little bit more with this Valk. I think I also would have waited a little bit more to use this Valk as well. I feel like you're a little bit too, like, preempted with it. I would have waited for your Sigma to come in and then tried using it. But it's all good. I love how you're, like, going over to this cover, though, as well, afterwards. I think with that one, I would have just done a slingshot out instead of like trying to super jump over the top. We literally could just do a slingshot out. You're in a bit of a risky spot now. Okay. Nice use of the cover. Then you've... Oh, okay. So your Sigma was taking damage, and then you kind of just like forgot about it into damage boost, which I like because obviously, you know, you want to push that damage boost, but at the same time, you kind of like took a little bit of a while just to realize, oh, my Sigma is still getting focused and stuff. So at that point, I would have like gone and just helped your Sigma out a little bit more, but it's all good. That's helping your soldier here. I think here, because, you know, they're going to start pushing around this corner and stuff like that, right? I think your best scenario here is to kind of actually play on these stairs a little bit higher up, right? It gives you like a lot more cover, and obviously it gives you this height advantage, right? Because at least Symmetra, right? Obviously not Kiri, but like Symmetra requires like you to be like in quite close distance to be able to do anything. So if you played up on this high ground here, yeah, there's nobody coming back for a while because obviously the cast has just fallen. You could play up here instead, and you're in like a better scenario. But let's see what you do here. Your GX that gets cancelled. Same thing here. Yeah, if you did a directional GA and you still played on that high ground, I think you probably would have survived that. Nice beat by your Echo though, and obviously the Kiri's still there. I think that's just really kind of unfortunate, and it was kind of like, I think you not really know how like to position yourself well and stuff like that. I think you were a little bit worried that obviously, you know, it is like the enemy spawn and stuff like that. But you have to also keep an eye on that kill feed and be like, is the people that's going to be coming back and stuff like that. Nice use of that cover. I love how you tried to help your Sigma there. Obviously not possible anymore. It's just a bit of a mess of a fly, isn't it? But you're using your cover really nicely now. Oh, no, sorry. You do exactly what I was just about to say. You did a really, really good rotation here. And I loved how... So this is called a wall bounce, in case people don't know. This is where you could attach your beam to someone, and then you kind of like disconnect it. Well, not disconnect it, but like cut LOS with a wall. And then you try to GA with that person and then jump out afterwards. You did it perfectly here. It was just, it was too late. Or it might have not been, I don't know, because obviously the cast's sticky grenade is broken. But you did the perfectly right thing here. I think you should have done it earlier, especially because you heard the Sim TP go off, right? Whenever you hear a Sim TP, you always want to be careful for a TP bomb or something like that. But you did completely the right thing of doing this like, nice little like side wall jump and then coming to like play with your soldier here. I think at that point I would have just backed into the room and just carried on backing out, but it's all good. I love how you're looking for your cover there, but instead of this cover, as soon as you had your GA back online, I do like another like directional, like obviously you want to GA to him and then kind of GA, and then you want to kind of play over here instead. The reasoning is that the enemies can still push you from here, and especially because there's still them being there, you know. This isn't like the staircase scenario up there where like two of the enemy team had died and nobody could get up to you from that high ground, right? This is a scenario where people can push you from this, you know, and it's very realistic that they will. So you just kind of will like come over here and play over here instead, right? Which I'm hoping you'll do in a second. But I love this damage boost. I think you could have maybe gone for the res, but at the same time, I wouldn't have trusted it, especially if you don't trust your tanks. I like the super jump off, and I love your attempts on trying to damage boost the start of it. I think sadly it wasn't possible, and you did the right thing of trying to heal him instead at the start of the flux. But you did the right thing of trying to damage boost it, honestly. And you kind of like left it as long as I think you possibly could, which is nice. I think this was unavoidable, right? Remember, this high ground, you have this opposite side. And you took the risky route of like, I'm just going to drop entirely in front of the team and then GA like kind of out. Instead, like you were looking up, you could have literally just like, Oh well, and then could just come back here. You know, just like I can't do anything against that because there's symmetric turrets and they do a lot of damage. So I'm just gonna back out. Or you could have maybe done like a floor bounce, which is where your beam is connected and then he started like going underneath. What you should have done is you could have bounced it through. But once again, that's like it is a tech that you probably don't know, especially because I know you're really still quite new to the game and stuff like that. So it's all good. So we'll see how the rest of this kind of plays out and stuff. A lot of your team died to high noon, that's okay. Your soldier's probably gonna die here as well, it's fine if he does. If he gets out, yeah, he dies, that's all good. So obviously Sigma is here. Lovely used to cover before the fight and stuff like that. You don't need to super jump there, you could just like play the cover a little bit more. Lovely rock on there. You can't help your Sigma there, so lovely looking back for someone else. At the same time, you still want to keep looking at him though, especially because he's pushed in a lot on the just in case. Lovely Valk. Go on, go on. Yes. I think here, instead of like flying up as much as you are, you can like play back here with these archers and stuff. Like, you can still play high up if you want to. It's just the fact that they still have that castle and stuff like that, so it means that he can like, oh sorry, he's coming back from the spawn, but still. It's still like a good habit like to get into, like playing the cover of the walls and stuff like that in your Valks and stuff. Love this push on the damage boost. Yeah, and you back in as soon as you can kind of thing. Very, very risky res, but I understand why you went for it. Damage boost. Nice. And here I would have been damage until obviously you got slept. I would have been damage boosting the Reaper. There I would have done a back push GA just to get out and stuff like that. But same thing, it's just the super jump thing again with you. Nice push on the damage boost as well. Go on, you've got it, I believe. Nice putting the Glock away, realizing you're not gonna get that kill though. I see a lot of Mercy just carrying on with the Glock, like I'm gonna get it, and unfortunately just can't. You did the right thing of like trying attempting it a few times and then thinking, nah, I can't do it, and then just going back to your team. Perfect. You were very close to get squished there, I will say that as well. I would have tried damage boosting a little bit on that flux up and also damage boosting your soldier a little bit more. But apart from that, overall, if you told me that this was Bronze 5, I would not believe you. At least look at your gameplay, I wouldn't believe you, right? And the reason is because that you know really well about the game already. Like, to say you haven't been playing that long, you already know a lot about the game. You already know how to position yourself well, and you already know, like, you know like how to position as Mercy, I think, really well already, and you know that blue beam push, which is something that I see a lot of Mercy struggle with. The issue that I'm having at the moment is your super jump. It's like you constantly just want to press that crouch button and go in. And I think something that you'd really work well with is if you practice a lot of your Mercy tech in some Mercy parkours and stuff like that. I think the only thing that's letting you down at the moment is your Mercy tech. I'm gonna be very honest, but it is something that comes in time and also something that you can practice and stuff. So let's like a start up. Nice damage boost on the shoulder. Oh, sorry, on your soldier. Can't speak. Same thing with the damage boost there. You can just, because people in this high ground stuff, especially this on that's already seen you. There's some nice little boxes here. You can just like play behind these instead, and you're gonna be in range still. It's all good. I think you realised that in a sec, yeah. Quite a different beat, Kiri. Your Kiri's made the mistake of standing out in the open. Lovely like push on this beam though. Same thing with the super jump there. What this should have been is just the directional GA. Like, so GA'd over here, jumped, slingshot yourself over to here, and played these boxes instead, right? But instead, obviously, you do end up hanging out on the cover. You do eventually find like the cover, which is like really, really nice. Nice going over. I don't think you could have helped your what's it called, your Reaper there. I like that slingshot over to here. And then you can like use that cashier desk as well to crouch down if they start focusing you. You can just kind of like crouch down behind it until you find like a good place to get out. Lovely healing on when he's not doing any damage though. I don't even know what your opinion there, I'm gonna be very honest, but it's all good. It's nice to recognise though there might be people there. You need to be pushing that. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be very honest. I don't know what your opinion. It might have been the Symmetra, right? But I couldn't see her from this perspective, right? And if you wanted to kind of like get away from whatever this was, you should have gone and just fully commit with this visor. This visor was a very like, obviously I know the D.Va DMs there and stuff like that, but like Soldier's Visor is a really, really good damage boost. So I would have literally like come from where you were, quickly slingshotted over to here. Or you could have even done like one of your nice little super jumps up to this high ground and then drop down with him because this Hanzo wants to be coming up to this high ground soon and damage boost his visor. But instead you kind of just like leave him and then he ends up getting critical and like scares him. Obviously that's what you do now, you do end up helping with that and stuff like that. Lovely GA back to go appeal for your Kiriko. And back to your Soldier. Great. Amazing. I would have maybe kind of like looked to help your what's it called, your Reaper here, but your Kiri's on it, so it's all good. I think just like a quick little hit on it, but your Kiri was there, so it's all good. While your Soldier's sleeping, especially in that kind of scenario, try to find someone else that's damage boosted, right? Because he has the cover of the cart there, so nothing's gonna like harm him or like quickly destroy him or anything. I would have focused my damage boost on the Sigma there, but it's all good. Nice healing. Obviously, I don't think you can do anything for your Sig. You want to go for that, right? Okay. Lovely Zuzu, kind of say, from your Kiri. Your Kiri had such a lovely Zuzu. That res would have been possible if you did it when you first initially went to do it, right? And I don't think it would have been as risky. Because I think you kind of just like went for it and then you were like, oh no, oh but I will, and then you went for it. It's that little hesitation. If you want to do something, commit to it, right? And that was the right choice of doing it quickly while the team were not expecting it. Because once your tank has then died and they start to push forward a little bit more, it becomes harder and harder to get reses off like this one. It was a lovely Zuzu from your Kiriko though, I will say. I think you would have been able to do it. You had the right idea with that Valk, I will say. You had the right idea. Let's see what you're going to do now. Okay. In my personal opinion here, if this was a higher lobby, these people will just come and just like either try to stagger you or just come and like attack you and just rah, like, you know, like, if it up in your face kind of thing. You should have either used your Valk to get out or hidden, right? And just not bothered pistoling anyone. Because you have to look at the team and think, am I going to be able to do anything here? No. Do I get ult charge if I'm pistoling in Valk? No. So, what you should be doing is literally just either coming back here and then just like hiding, either like on these stairs or just somewhere. Or you could have like used your Valk and just kind of flitted away all the way around here and then met back up with your team when you can, right? But you've chosen to kind of like come around here. I'm quite surprised you don't get punished by it. It's quite nice that you kind of just like hanging about here. I would have used crouch a little bit more to like protect your footsteps and stuff. Lovely going up to your Aurora. I think once again it's like slingshot. You should have done a slingshot there to get yourself out a little bit more. Don't think you could have really done anything for your Sigma there. Same thing here with the super jump. You're doing some nice work with your cover now though. Very, very nice. Yeah, I don't want to keep repeating myself, obviously, for this entire scenario. You're surviving all this. Like, your Kiri and your movement are doing really well, right? The thing that could have made it even better is, what's it called? Ease help you, Farah. Okay. So, I'm just going to stop this here because there's a bit to talk about. So, this entire scenario where you were like super jumping up, like, oh my gosh, please don't help me, like, help me, and like all this kind of stuff. You could have done so many like directional GAs that would have helped you get more cover a lot easier instead of just like you just super jumping and helping you like get even worse. Like, there's a part here where it's like the Farah came up here. You could have GA'd to her and then like just kind of like dropped down behind this cover and then still kind of like beamed her up here. And then when she wants to rotate, and then you use the statue really, really well and stuff like that. There was a part where you did that really well. But there's certain points where it's like you can just utilize these high grounds and the directional GAs instead of just shooting yourself upwards. And then it was this part where your team just ended up focusing this what's called this diva quite heavily. And since your whole team is there focusing it, your Farah was wanting to go in with a soldier and she needed your support. And this is the point where you should have gone in with her. Sadly, she doesn't fall and stuff like that. Lovely res behind the cover though. I did like that res. It's a very, very nice res. Nice push onto the damage boost. You need to heal it now though, yeah. Very, very nice. Nice, good ping on her as well to let people know there's someone flanking. Your use of pings are really, really nice. I do like them. The same thing here where you've ended up seeing Yana. Nice, what's it called? Pinging her though. But it's the same thing where it's like, you don't need to go up in the air there. You can just stay low to the ground and stuff like that. That time's the time where you could use it and stuff like that. Especially because you want to use up this cover a little bit more. Nice pings as well to let people know. I think he positioned himself well there so he didn't see you and he was focused on the, what's it called, the soldier. I could see that he wanted to go and help her. Can't do anything there. Ooh, okay. Okay. This battle was too early. Once again. You understand that you like it's so frustrating to see, right? Because it's like, you know, in your head, you're really smart. I will say that you know what you want to do as Mercy, right? What you wanted to do is you wanted to Valk there, your team to push in, help it and stuff like that, right? The reason, like, why it wasn't good is because even though, yes, I know it was a 4v5 and you wanted to kind of like help and push in, the team wasn't pushed in far enough. And then you tried to go for that res, there is no way that you're going to get that res, sadly. Unless if your Kiriko Zuzu's you, there's going to be no way that you're going to get that res. The reason for that is they have sim wall up, and also the whole team is there, right? And as soon as you fly in and try to get that res, especially because your team aren't engaged in the fight at that point, they're just going to go straight for you. And then sadly, you do end up like dying because of that. I feel as though you could use your Valk a little bit later. Because your Pharah wasn't going to be saved there, I'm going to be very honest. Your Pharah was not going to be saved, especially because you were helping peel for the, what's it called, your Reaper, right? So your Pharah was not going to survive that, right? So at that point, I would just waited for my Valk, see what happened with the rest of the fight, and then if it does end up that they end up fighting it a little bit more and pushing it a little bit more, use your Valk, and then I don't think you would have rested the Pharah, you just waiting for her to get back. But it's all good. But once again, go in and go pocket your Pharah, very, very nice. Your job isn't to be, like, destroy the turrets there. Nice good looking for your Pharah though. Like, leaving the Sigma once you know he's like quite full HP and has the Kiriko with you is great. Lovely. It's the same thing with the thing. Go on, you can do it, you can do it. I believe. Yes! Now you just put it away. There we go. You got that nice pick though. Nice push into the cart while you do this as well. Obviously, back to Pharah. You don't need to, yeah. In that scenario, like, I know obviously you want to use your pistol and stuff like that, but if someone's in beam range, make sure you beam them before you decide to get your pistol out. It'll just do more damage in general and stuff like that. Unless if it's like a Reaper that's like really far away from the person, then obviously your pistol might do more. But in a generic scenario, your damage boost will do more than your pistol there. So you can just damage boost your Pharah. If your Pharah gets a little bit away, then you can obviously damage boost and stuff. You need to help your Echo. Good use of cover, getting back in. And then walking back round as well, really, really nice. You used this Valk to help save your Sigma, didn't you? And you didn't need to, right? Your Sigma had Kiriko here and also another DPS, right? And you can do like a movement where it's like you won't touch the dragon, where it's like you can kind of GA to that person, and you do kind of like an angle where it go like, say you're like up here and it'll like go down like this. And so you might touch the dragons like a little bit, but with Mercy's GA, you don't actually. I think you can GA through a dragon and you take 120, like, not like head on obviously, but like say the dragon was obviously, it was coming through here. If you GA through, I believe it does 125 damage, so you're left with 75, from what I can remember. I think that's how it was in Overwatch 1. I don't know whether it still is or not. So even if you end up like tapping it a little bit and then coming out to come and like help him, then it's alright. You instead like, invested the Valk, right? And I don't think you needed to, because they've just lost the, what's it called? They've just lost the D.Va who's like come in and fed and stuff like that. This should be an easy kind of team, like, you know, win for you. So this Valk isn't needed. I could see the intention behind it, and it was a good intention, you know? It wasn't just like, oh, I'm just gonna Valk for like a random reason. But yeah, same thing there. It's like you should try and find your Echo to damage boost there. Lovely used to go and help your follower with the stagger though. You should stay with her though. It's the same thing again, where it's like you left your Pharah, and sadly like she does end up getting the kill, don't get me wrong, but she ended up trading, right? I think instead I would have like stayed and like played with her, obviously still keeping an eye out on all these guys, stuff like that. I think your Echo committed too hard. I don't think there's anything you could do for your Echo there. But once again, your Kiri's still here. Kiri still does lots and lots of healing, even with the healing nerf and stuff like that. So you could easily just help these out and stuff like that, and you could have just like stayed with the Pharah, help secure that kill. Because once you secure that kill of the Ana, sure they have the Moira who does a lot of healing, but it's still another support that's gone. You've lost the ability for a sleep dart or like an anti-nade onto your team and stuff like that, right? So I would have like helped secure that, and you would have been member up. This is a very nice res. I really like that res. Once again, using your cover and stuff like that, but then you need to stay with her. A little bit AFK. I don't think any of that was to do with you. I think that was to do with her being AFK and stuff. Lovely movement away though. Lovely focus onto the Sigma when you could. Lovely GA away as well. This Symmetra. Okay, she was just after you. I think you were trying to look for your Pharah, weren't you, and stuff like that, which sadly she was like kind of over here instead. This stupid pillars, I know exactly what you mean, because she got stuck on this pillar. I could see what it was. These stupid pillars, I hate them. I get stuck on them every single time. I don't think there's anything you could do, sadly. She's got quite a high charged beam. Is it high? Yeah, I think it's quite high charged. Yeah, I'm gonna say yeah, it is. And she just walks into you, sadly. And obviously you're like desperate, like, Sigma, help me, Sigma. But I don't know, sadly I don't think there's anything really more you could have done there. But it's all good. Obviously the Sigma dies as well because it's so high charge Symmetra beam. Does so much damage. I think your team just has to like reset here. I hope you're not going to go res them. I think you were saying to group up, but it came up with a res ping, which is alright. But it was just so funny. I was like, oh, I'm going to go res. And I was like, no, you're not. So he needed to do a directional GA, right? Because you could already see the Ana already had sights and stuff like that. You want to do this directional GA, play this pillar here. If you do end up taking a bit of damage, use the health pack, and then you can follow through with this Pharah, right? Which I think you're going to do now, especially for this barrage. You want to lovely damage boost on it. I would have, yeah, healing, nice. I would have played the roofs a little bit more here, because once again you kind of like stood out, like you're doing now with the roofs. You're doing it really, really nicely. Sadly, your team are dying, but I don't think there's really anything you could do there, especially because your Pharah is like hard committing. You need to hard commit with her. Lovely healing on her. I don't know if she's even gonna stay here. All right. I would have saved this Valk for a little bit later, especially for this last team fight, because obviously your team are going to be coming back, right? I would have saved this Valk. The reason it is, you're not losing HP, so you like don't need the extra movement or anything. And your Pharah at the time is full HP. I think you kind of just like popped it, because you were like, oh, let's just pop this Valk, you know? I think at this point you could have just saved it, right? We're just going to carry on, see what happens. Sadly, she ends it. I like that. No, okay. Your first touch of the cart was great, can I just say, because you were using the cart as cover at that point, waiting for your GA to come online and wait for your team. But then, I don't know why, but you decided to go back in, right? There is no need for you to go and touch the cart while none of your team are there. Unless if it's like in an overtime scenario and you're going to end up like losing the match or something like that, you know? So you kind of like went in and touched it again, and then you kind of like got stuck here. I was like, oh no, what shall I do? Instead, what you should have done, because your teammates were here, come back out with them, and then could have helped out with the push in. We'll see how this like fight kind of plays out. Yeah, nice Blizzard. Can't do anything against that, sadly. And I think you probably won't get another recon test there, looking at that. So overall, I don't know whether the game was winnable if you'd saved your Valk there, or like got out. Because obviously your Pharah had like staggered herself and stuff like that. If your Pharah knew better, the Pharah would have got out with you, would have regrouped, gone in with your Valk to initiate the fight. Might have won it, might not, don't know. Don't know with these scenarios. But what you, like, your generic, like, throughout the entire match, your position, like, your position at points was really, really good. And if it involved a super jump, your position was really, really good. It seems like you're really knowledgeable, which is really good for a new player, you know. You seem like you know what you need to do. You know what your role is for the team, which is to damage boost DPS and play with them. There's just certain, like, little decisional things here and there, but I think that comes with more time playing the game, you know, especially because you're quite new to the game. It's just those little knowledgeable bits of, like, knowing when to stay with your Pharah and knowing when to go and help your team and stuff like that. It will come with time. The second thing is, like, your your super jump issue. Like there are certain points where it's like it is needed and you do it very, very nicely. But I want you to go into some kind of like mercy parkour and stuff like that. Practice doing some of those movements using the jump and using like a directional slingshot, like jump thing. I don't know what the official name of it is, but like the one where you use like your jump button to take yourself somewhere else instead of using that super jump, right? Because although it's good to use super jump in certain scenarios, in other ones it was leaving you very far out in the open and stuff like that. And the other thing is like your Valk timings. Like like I can always see the reasoning why you want to Valk, which is great. But there are just certain scenarios where like you either like you're doing it too early or it's not needed, right? And I think something you just need to work on is trying to think to yourself, okay, when am I going to use my Valk? And really, really thinking about and saving it until you like, not saving it until you like desperately need it, but it's more like saving it until you think it's going to have the most impact, right? Because you see it and it's like you want to do it and you do it in like really, really nice places and stuff, but it's just at the wrong time, which is annoying. But overall, it's if you told me that was bronze 5, I wouldn't believe you. I would be like, that's more like a silver gold, even like a plat that has really good game sense but just doesn't have the mechanics and stuff like that, which I think is really, really good for a person like you who's coming quite new to the game and stuff like that. So just work on that position. I could really see you like climbing up quite quickly and stuff like that. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this VOD review. I hope you all enjoyed. Once again, you can have your own VOD reviews for 5,000 channel points on my channel. I will do it live, and then if there is any issues, I will re-record it like this one. But obviously, if not, it'll just get uploaded the whole thing as it is. And there's other VOD reviews in my VOD review playlist. You can see some of my own gameplay that I VOD reviewed myself, where I talk about some things I did really well and talk through kind of why I did things. There's also other ones where I did something that's slightly wrong, and it's like I talk through why I did it wrong and what I should have done to improve it and stuff like that. But yeah, just thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you later. Bye.